Matt Stafford, we were just talking about him, or Frat Stafford, if you want to call him by that. Is he considered a Hall of Famer now that he's won a Super Bowl? That's the debate.
So throw it out. All right, I'm going to start with you. I'm really curious to how you want to approach this question and what qualifies
a Hall of Famer.
A Hall of Famer in that position, not
yeah,
just as a quarterback.
Okay, well, at least so like before I was all like, he's a Hall of Famer, not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but definitely can be considered in the Hall of Fame. And then Richard Sherman tweets this out. He said no accolades. He's got no MVP, no Offensive Player of the Year, no all decade team, no All Pro, one Pro Bowl, and he said even Matt Ryan has an MVP. Okay,
is this the Richard Sherman that was literally intoxicated about to get gunned down by the cop? No, I'm kidding.
He also went to Stanford, so he gets a pass.
Yeah. Stanford. All right, scholarship. Anyways, so that's what you feel? Okay.
Yes.
Coming off somebody who does not play the position, Richard Sherman's great. I will give it to him. But you also have to understand 13 years of suffering in Detroit with how many winless seasons in that time?
He has a losing record.
Of course, but what did Detroit do to favor this man outside of Calvin Johnson?
So if we're looking at content, let's not say that Detroit Lions are trash, okay?
No, they're trash, but
we can also say the same thing as Archie Manning, how he was dealt with.
He got shitty in New Orleans.
Yes.
No,
we all know that.
We know that.
But
Archie never threw for 50,000 yards in a career.
And he also said this in a pass happy league. That's the only reason why he's got all these numbers.
Sure, go for it. There's always going to be a narrative.
Yeah.
In all sorts of ways. But continue with what you think, because I think you and I we have different viewpoints on yes or no.
He would be the Hall of Fame of good. To me, he's got to probably win one more Super Bowl, or at least get an MVP.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be okay. Because one Super Bowl, okay, then you can say Trent Dilfer, and then you could say or Joe Flacco.
Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco, no. Joe Flacco won because of Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, and all that defense.
And we just mentioned how Rams the defense was the reason he needed a defense to get to the Super Bowl.
But Joe Flacco wasn't also the quickest to pass for 50,000 yards and have personal characteristics, personal stats, accomplishments that Matt Stafford has. He's literally the quickest to 50,000 yards in 182 games. That's what it took.
He also had one of the best wide receivers
for about 7 years.
Half his career.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it helped. But
there's so many arguments we can make here.
And how many times is Matt Stafford behind? So where the passing has to come in because
100%. I agree with you on that. But at the same time, we talked about this last time. All Matt Stafford needed was a defense.
Yeah.
What happened when he got traded? He's literally the first player. I think there's 3 total. I'll have to look it up. To win in his first time with the team. And it does not shy away from the fact that the LA Rams were equipped with the defense that Stafford needed to get to the... 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That typically doesn't win a Super Bowl.
No.
Defense did.
That's
all Matt Stafford needed.
I think the last drive, he was pretty sharp with him and Cooper Kupp. But there were some throws in that. There's that one throw in the end zone that was way overthrown.
What, at the end of the game, or at what point?
I think it was towards the end of near the end of the game. I think it could have been on the drive where they also got held on the penalty.
That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Where it's like, bro, what are you? There's a couple passes that he threw. I was like, what are you?
I'm just gonna run some names here.
Okay.
You tell me if he's Hall of Fame worthy now.
Okay.
Tom Brady, we already know.
Yeah.
Drew Brees,
Yes.
Peyton Manning,
Yes.
Brett Favre.
Yes. Is he not in the Hall of Fame already?
No, he already is.
Oh.
Big Ben. I'm talking about. I'll get to this.
Yes. I think Big Ben.
Big Ben. Phillip Rivers.
No.
That's a good one,
No.
right? Dan Marino. Never won a Super
I know.
Bowl, but he's in.
Yes.
So you want to talk about that one before I finish?
Yeah. Is there another one that's won 2 Super Bowls? I think it's not Ken Stabler. Just a guy who won 2 Super Bowls. I can't remember his name. Who's not in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Keep going.
Before I even get to Matt Stafford, we have Eli Manning, Aaron Rodgers, John Elway.
Okay.
And
So
that's
John Elway is definitely in. Aaron
So-
Rodgers is definitely in.
So let's touch base. Dan Marino. He's
Yes.
never won one,
Yes.
but he's a Hall of Famer. Why is Matt Stafford not? Now that he
What's
has,
the phrase that people say? If you could tell the NFL story, is their name going to be mentioned when you tell the story of the NFL? I think Dan Marino,
Dan Marino
definitely
always
is. He was probably the one of the best quarterbacks
Just like
in the
Jim
'80s. In the '80s, with Joe Montana, Dan Fouts, Dan Marino. I think Elway's a little bit of the '80s as well.
he
Or
was
maybe
80s, 90s.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't think Stafford is even considered in his draft class, or not in his draft class, but that 2010s, not even the top 5 quarterbacks.
But here's the issue that I have with it. He was literally put into a situation.
What about Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow's 2 years in.
He 2 years in, and the Bengals were, won 4 games prior to that? And then he changed.
But look at the situation that was provided. He literally, I told you this. Joe Burrow he got put into a situation that was already built for success. Unfortunately, I mean, I wish we could see what would have happened last year, but he had his injury. But
They were decent last year. Not too bad.
he, after 10 games, he tore his ACL. He was out.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to see the finished product. And then this year we kind of did. But I think a lot of this year there was a lot of things that were going on. But if you want to talk, like, Matt Stafford
He's not
literally
yet.
was put into a very dying scenario, a dying
Yes.
franchise. That some of the greatest of all time.
So when we're in the Hall of
Arguably,
Fame-
Barry Sanders is the best running back of all time.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Calvin Johnson is right there with Randy Moss and Jerry Rice.
And T.O.
Fuck Terrell Owens.
No, okay, so that's let's talk about T.O. for a second. I know he's in a different position, but
Okay.
I want to say this, though, because T.O. should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer,
Should have.
but he was not. Because,
Do you think it's a lot of his personality? And
I think so,
what
yeah.
His aggressiveness
yes,
was?
absolutely.
No.
Dude, if you talk about T.O. and compare to Antonio Brown, T.O. doesn't leave the game. That guy put his heart and soul on the field. Sure, he might be a little bit of a drama queen.
He was
Fair.
a lot of a drama queen.
A lot of drama queen, but he ain't Antonio Brown. He's never had any outside issues outside of the NFL. He's never been arrested. He's never hit his wife.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's...
Which is what I'm saying
so
is that,
far
like,
off subject, but
I know, but what I'm saying is that, like, the Hall of Fame now it's
skewed.
a little skewed. And so, like, for me, sometimes I'm like, you want to put Matt Stafford because he was on the Detroit Lions? Fine, we'll take the first 13 years of it and just say, like, well, we feel sorry for you.
That's my point. That's what I'm bringing up. Dan Marino is in. He's in there, and he has never won a Super Bowl. So what does it take to actually be in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, Dan Fouts also. I'm not Dan Fouts. Dan Marino also had the record for most touchdowns before Peyton Manning broke it.
Is that what we're going off of?
I guess
Should Tom Bahali we just lost him to Indianapolis a few years ago. Chiefs, defensive end, Justin Houston was a half a sack away from Michael Strahan's record. Just because of that, should he be in?
It helps. It definitely helps when you consider it, though.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, what
is his resume?
What are we doing?
If his if you look at their resume, and you see it, you just see, he's in the top 10 passing yards, top 10 passing touchdowns.
Which he is.
But I know what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's going to, because I think he's 12 right now, right? From what I saw, he's like
12 on.
Okay.
Right now. Yeah.
And eventually he's going to be probably top 5, maybe 5 or 6
At the end of his career, if he is on pace to do what the Ben Roethlisberger's, the Aaron Rodgers, the Tom Brady's done, he's got another 7 years in which he will be able to surpass pretty much half of what's in front of them. Because the other ones don't play.
If he gets so let's compare to Drew Brees for a second. I'd probably give him that because Drew Brees has before Tom Brady broke it all, because Tom Brady's been in the league like 20 plus years. Drew Brees has had all the passing yards, passing touchdowns.
Before him was Peyton.
Drew Brees also has only one Super Bowl. However, Drew Brees every year had some type of record with him. I think he has the highest
completions,
it was like Stafford doesn't even have one where he's leading the record. So, if he leads, has a similar record, maybe towards Drew Brees, I could probably put him in the Hall of Fame. But only because he's top 5, top 6, and then he's on one Super Bowl. Like he's got a couple more years to show. Like, okay, can you get? Because like I said, Sherman says no accolades. That kind of like hurts him a bit. And only one Pro Bowl. Well, I mean, the Pro Bowl's a joke anyway. It's his situation sucked.
Look at the quarterbacks that were in the NFC at the time and the duration of Matt Stafford. For his duration, there was Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson mainlining ahead of him with Matt Ryan and Drew Brees. Where the fuck is Matt Stafford going to pop in the NFC? That's what we're seeing in the AFC currently. You are now having Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, who just started and won the MVP in this most recent Pro Bowl.
Okay, so you're saying if he retires...
I'm saying if Matt Stafford played in a different era, whatever it may be, but like during his time, if we want to talk about Pro Bowl invitees, he was literally overlooked because, one, he played for the Detroit Lions, who on average during his career there probably won, 4 games on average? Mm-hmm. And you have Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson.
He had Jim Caldwell, which they got a couple playoff appearances. I think he was 0. I think he's 0-2.
I'm saying on average, he was a part of a winless team, which does not help my argument.
That's right. But I'm saying, yeah. I forgot about that one.
Overall, what the guy has pretty much, if he was not on Detroit roster.
We can't consider what ifs still in a Hall of Fame when we're sitting there. We're like,
but we kind of have to, because what indicates.
So he's going to be in the all-time greats with Joe Montana, Tom Brady.
No, I'm not saying he's not in the all-time greats.
But the Hall of Fame should be
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if it's a whole if, but what he has done as an individual performer, and that is what the Hall of Fame is about. After securing a first year with a new team, winning a Super Bowl, that's an individual accomplishment, getting a Super Bowl, and pretty much high numbers, close to where the top were Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
I think he's got to hold a record, though. He's got to hold a one or two. Because, I mean, okay, Phil Rivers he's also in the top 5 of passing career.
Do you think Eli Manning is a Super Bowl, I
would put Famer? Eli Manning over Stafford in Hall of Fame because he's got not only 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
Do you know how many years Eli Manning led the league in interceptions thrown?
His regular season is average. His postseason is phenomenal.
But this is the point. Eli Manning has 2 things. 1, threw a shit ton of interceptions. 2, he's in the top 6, 7 all time of fourth quarter overtime comeback drives. So there's a different variant there. But at the same time, Matt Stafford has never consecutively thrown 20 interception seasons.
He did lead the interception league this year, though, right?
Matt Stafford?
Yeah, I think
No.
He had 14. I think he was leading the.
That was not the lead.
Is it Trevor Lawrence? It's him or Trevor Lawrence, I swear.
Trevor Lawrence threw like 2021. And if not, it was also...
my phone's up there. Fuck.
No. But no.
You should... Can you look it up? Who was leading the interceptions this year?
Okay. I'm telling you, man.
I think, if you want to take context, Eli Manning also beat the undefeated Patriots that year. That's a pretty good, like, holy shit. And then he also beat Brady again 4 years after that. If we're taking context.
Wait, what was it?
I said, if you want to take context, where the narrative around Eli Manning is that he also beat the undefeated Patriots.
Yeah, 18-1 season, I got it.
He
defeated them twice.
Twice, exactly.
I know, but
So, like,
we're talking about, so a lot of this is just kind of like a revolving door now, because we want to talk about certain accolades and disregard productivity, but then bam, productivity sucks from Eli Manning a few years, but he's able to pull off the win.
So,
like, where do we...
Eli Manning's on the first ballot. I think it'll take
I don't think it's the first ballot.
I think it
Not
is.
many people are.
I think there's only thing about Manning that I could say that's unfair because he is a Manning. So that helps a lot. He played in New York. That helps a lot. But I still will put, if they gave me an option, you got Eli to put in the Hall of Fame or Stafford. As of right now, I'm putting Eli. If Stafford wins another one or MVP,
He will if he resigns with them. 100%.
I think he could, yeah.
The NFC is a fucking breeze.
Yeah, I think he could get to the NFC Championship, Super Bowl. Yeah, I could definitely see it. But he's got to win it, though.
Okay, you were absolutely right. Sorry to interrupt. You did get it. Matt Stafford and Trevor Lawrence were tied with 17 interceptions. That is the one in time I will actually be wrong. But simultaneously, there's a difference in this stat. Matt Stafford threw for pretty much 3 times the amount Trevor Lawrence did. Outside of Trevor Lawrence's amazing game week, what is it, 18 now that we're in?
Yeah.
Okay, good job, Josie. Good job.
That was the first one on camera, too. I like that.
You got me. All right, you got me.
But he's got 4 or 5 more years to prove me wrong. He's bored. He could. It's a borderline because Deion Sanders mentioned it. It's now become like a participation trophy for the Hall of Fame, but he's more referring to I think Eli or Philip Rivers.
I don't think Philip Rivers will.
I don't think so either.
As great of a career he's had, there's no outliner that says, "Hey, he's deserving of it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think Matt Stafford, though, because that's what we're mainly doing on this one, does deserve it.
I think he has potential to get there. I think he does, but...
So if he wins one more, is that it? That solidifies the ticket?
I think winning a being 2-time Super Bowl champion definitely helps. I know we want to discuss Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers...
So let me ask you this. This is just kind of a random...
Okay.
If Jimmy Garoppolo was your quarterback, played like shit, threw for 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions for 2 seasons, won 2 Super Bowls, anchored by defense, is he a Super Bowl or a Hall of Famer?
No.
Okay, so that's my point. Like, why? Like, where does it all?
So in both those,
where does it all fall? Like,
because Eli Manning was definitely carried by the defense. However, he also came clutch in most of those games.
No, I literally reassured you.
Yeah,
I told you
with Jimmy G if Jimmy G beat the Chiefs that year.
I'm just saying. I was using Jimmy G because that's another free agent come to be.
Yeah,
and see like, had he won. Let's say he beat the Chiefs once and then won another Super Bowl. Like, where would he be? I don't think he's a quality Hall of Fame candidate, but it's like Matt Stafford is 100%. If you look at his resume and what he's endured and all the time he has spent in an organization in the city that does not appreciate and provide, and then he goes the first year to the Rams.
He has a good, strong narrative. I think he does, where if, like I said, this is his first year with the Rams, let's see what happens to the next couple years. If he really, changes, because eventually the Rams are not going to be able to pay Odell Beckham. They're not going to be able to pay, they're going to have to keep one of them, Cooper Kupp or Odell Beckham, and at this point, Odell Beckham's out because he's injury prone. The defense, Jalen Ramsey, keeping Aaron Donald, depending on Sean McVay wants to retire too. Like, if he could still carry that load and be consistent, I think, yes, I would consider him a Hall of Famer. But right now, it's looking like, well, Aaron Donald came up clutch with his 2 plays. Cooper Kupp came in clutch too. Without Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford was looking bad.
Without any receiver, he's not going to look good. But you can't do that. There's only one quarterback.
Brady has had no receivers. And
come on now.
What?
I was just about to say, you can't utilize and compare in that. You're talking about the best.
There's a reason why he's the best, because he can take
he only
people.
Had one receiver all his career that made him who he was in far as statistical reasoning. Outside of the season with Randy Moss, Tom Brady was a mediocre statistical quarterback with an amazing coach, with an amazing defense every single year.
Bossy, 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 we just